What a
So,
great space.
thanks. Great to have you in studio. I know we've talked to you before. You're a great guest. And I did want to talk to you because, of course, the case du jour that everyone's talking about, the unprecedented case against the President of the United States, the criminal hush money trial that's happening in Manhattan court here. Now, Michael Cohen, the star witness for the prosecution, has been testifying. I believe he's been cross-examined today, if I'm not incorrect. How do you think that's been going in terms of the prosecution's case in chief and how he's presented himself?
I think they had a roadmap and they're moving down the roadmap. I think they're doing a good job. It's tough with a case like that because you have all these sensational facts. You have hush money to a stripper, basically. And it has all these side issues that have to tie into campaign finance laws. And they're doing a good job kind of keeping enough sensation in there that it's part of the facts. You can't separate it while sticking to, the core issues and what Michael Cohen did. Now, again, Michael was a part of all of this, and Michael would love to say mea culpa, that's the old me, but I've talked to Michael and he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, and that's part of the issue for the prosecution, and what the opening that the defense is trying to take is that this is a convicted liar.
Right.
He's perjured himself. You can't trust this witness. However, he is crucial to the building blocks, as you mentioned, of the prosecution's case. From what, the media isn't allowed in the courtroom, but a lot of the observers have said he's tried to stick to just the facts.
Right.
What do you think, especially as a experienced defense attorney yourself, a litigator, how crucial is it that witnesses be credible, and how do you cross that nexus when they may not be?
Yeah, it's coming during cross-examination. They're going to get to the credibility issues to tear apart your witness, take their legs off. And I know the strategy here, and I've seen part of it, is to kind of get to the core of what his testimony is, get to the good parts, and then at some point say, "Oh yeah, and by the way, you've perjured yourself. You've been convicted for being a liar. Are you lying today?" And you've got to work that in. Lawyers greater than me, older than me, called it embracing the horror, right? You've got to deal with the bad facts of your case, and Cohen brings that. He was, the bag man for Donald Trump, but because of the nature of this case and it having, the core witnesses having, past
Backgrounds.
Let's
just call it backgrounds
that are less than what you normally see in federal
less
court.
Less than stellar.
Right. I think people understand, and that's part and parcel with the case, right? These were the people that Donald Trump chose, right? They chose Michael Cohen. He chose Stormy Daniels. He chose Omarosa, right? Over and over and over again. And some have criticized, even within his inner circle, about wait, why do you keep these people around? And I think there was some kind of mutually symbiotic thing that he found on people that needed him. It kind of fed his narcissistic edge, I think.
And worked potentially for his business interest in some way that the prosecution, at least, is trying to create a nexus for. And what's interesting about Michael Cohen's testimony as well is that it does come down to a little bit of he said, she said. There's no hard documentation that can tie the case for the prosecution to Donald Trump, to elevate it from misdemeanor financial crimes to the felonies. It's a 34-count indictment that they're trying to bring together. So what do you think? We're going to let you speculate. Use your ESP to kind of your psychic ball to see if this is going to play with the jury, let alone the court of public opinion.
I mean, the court of public opinion is so polarized and kind of separate here. It's going to play to the people that want to hear it, and it's going to be A witch hunt to those that don't. The core middle that tends to decide elections, that tends to go along with the flow until they have to, choose a hard path. I think they need to take a real stern look at this, and again, this is the president of the United States getting to some extent recorded by his own lawyer, trying to weaponize media to put a hush on and a non-disparage and non-disclosure on somebody he had a sexual relationship with. There's no dispute of that part.
Well, he has claimed that
he has, but I think anybody that knows Donald knows, that's the least credible of his lies. I think everybody understands that. He considers himself a ladies' man, but it's fascinating to watch. But it's also, and I was in it. I was in that circle for a few years, and it's filthy, and he was the one deposition that I didn't get. We tried. I wanted his deposition so bad, and we tried every which way we could. But just to sit across from somebody like that and get into their head for a little bit, is probably the one thing I've missed thus far in my career. We didn't need it,
you ultimately recovered $1.3 million judgment.
But he's a fascinating character in American history just because he's to me so unlikable.